rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40 who focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 28 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. Today I want to talk about where you hang out. A few episodes ago, we talked about the importance of your circle of five. Another podcast, we talked about your inner circle. Have you found it yet? And something to me that's as important, equally important, sometimes more important, is where you hang out, where you spend your time. So it goes to reason that if you're trying to hang out with more positive people, improve, where you're going in life, or where you're at, or your quality of life, you have to take a real honest inventory of who you're hanging out with, what activities you're doing, and what does that lead to, right? So, for me, when I was drinking, I hung out with guys that drank, and they weren't bad guys. These were good guys, but, we drank, and that's what we did. It was like for sport, like hunting, except without the dogs and the guns. Well, not always guns. But so when I decided it was time to get sober and I took those steps, I had to make those changes. So those guys that I used to drink with, they're still really good guys. I really like them. I miss them. I see them once in a while in a different capacity and stuff, but I can't hang out with them. Right? Because that's the stuff that they do is the stuff that I don't want to do, right? I can't do. It doesn't make me better. It doesn't make me worse. It's none of that bullshit and stuff like that. It's not like we're, sharing a bottle of wine on a street corner with shit burning in a barrel. It was definitely not that. However, where I was hanging out had to make changes. So for the most part, I hung out in good places, but I had to make those changes. If you want to find the kind of people you want to be like or be more like or be part of and share in that, so when you have similar interests and similar values and similar goals, those are critical things. And the more you align yourself and become congruent with that, the faster you're going to make those changes. So it's the same thing. If you want to hang out with people that are more, worldly or more educated, well, where would you find those people? Well, you'd find those people at a university or a college or a library or, go to speaking engagements where these people are at, so that the people in the audience are into that thing as well too, right? So that's, you kind of have to seek out, who you want to be, find out who that is, and then seek out those that are like that, and where do they hang out, right? Where do they spend their time? For us, and for me particularly, some of the places that I hang out obviously is the gym over at Hostile. And that's why I've created it into into the place that it is and how it's set up and structured, because I'm looking to, feed that need for me to have that really great place to hang out, as a career, as a business, super important. But when I work out, people ask me, where's do you think Hostile is the best gym? I go, I think it's the best gym for me. And I think it's the best gym for people that want to do things similar to what I do, or be around me, or be around, that kind of stuff. So if you like what I like, then you're going to love this gym. Right? If you're not into that and you're into different types of things, then that's where you got to go overall, right? So to me, that's what's important about the atmosphere that we create at Hostile. So, I'm always watching my weight and working on my weight loss. That's my challenge, the food and the calories and stuff. So, I don't judge people that, don't lose weight. I understand the struggle. I'm also pretty honest about it, right? When I'm on top of my nutrition, I get leaner. When I'm not, I don't. So I don't sit there and blame, the program, or blame the diet, or blame life or the world. Fuck that. It's me. I'm the one who doesn't stay focused on it, right? And so that's my thing. Keep working on that. Keep improving. So I don't expect perfection, but I don't bullshit myself. And that's what I'm looking for when I spend time with people, who I hang out with, right? I don't want, people that I hang out with just to agree with everything I say. Because that doesn't benefit me. That doesn't help me. If you honestly agree with something I say or a position I have, great. If you don't, then that's okay too, right? At the end of the day, that's what makes us different overall. And it allows me to become more rounded and see different points of view and understand that there's another way to look at things, right? There's the old adage, there's a right way and a wrong way, or my way and the wrong way. I think, for me, if I can live in between, that, I think that's pretty good overall. But, this morning I was pounding out a great workout. And I was hanging out with Phil from the gym, and I just like training with Phil. I like training with Phil. I like the conversations we have. I like the way we train. I like what we get done. And to me, that makes it a lot more encouraging for me to get into those workouts and be there. And I notice it when I'm not there, right? I like walking in the gym and seeing the people working out, and they're all the 40-somethings. We get a few younger, but for the majority, the 40, 50-somethings, some 60-somethings. And, they're grinding and they're working hard, and they're working hard to improve themselves so they can have a better quality of life. Well, I fucking love being around that because that's where I'm at, and that's what I think is super important. So our facility has that feel to it. Our branding has that feel to it. I have that feel to it. And I think that's what's really important. And that empowers me to keep moving forward and building on that and adding things. The way we run things at Hostile now and how we run classes and our attitude, the essence is the same, but we're growing with it because we're getting more into it. And as other doors open, opportunities open, we're able to do cooler things and better things and bigger things and still not lose sight of we're a place where you can come and work out safely, physically and mentally, emotionally. You're going to be taken care of, good content, great coaching. People give a shit about you. And what happens is we're building a membership platform of people that are like-minded that way as well, that care about the fellow person that's working out besides them, that, look forward to working out because they've made gym friends, right? So I can see that transition when, people come into the gym and they realize that, where they're hanging out is super, super important, right? So the gym is one of the aspects overall. Other aspects, other sports, other things you do, it's all important. Where we spend our time, we need to control that, and we need to guide that, and we need to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the best scenario for ourselves and for our families, working towards our goals. So just as important as who you hang out with is where you hang out. And if you improve where you hang out, you're going to improve the people that you hang out with because they're hanging out in those places as well, right? And again, one's not necessarily better than the other as far as who you hang out with and what that person does. But, if I hang out with a guy that, knows training is super important, if I hang out with a guy that knows working on himself is super important and he's striving to become a better man, husband, father, business owner, employee, a technician, whatever it is, right? Well, we're going to have a lot more in common. We're going to have a lot more rapport, and we're putting ourselves in an environment that we're both going to benefit from, right? And to me, that's what's super important overall. If you want to play a dart league, then hang out in the dart league, but look around and see who's hanging out in the dart league, right? And just be cool. Say, hey, this is what if I'm comfortable here and I like this and it's truly making me happy, then you should fucking hang out there. But the moment we don't like who we are and where we are, then we have to really look at changing our environment, the external environment where we hang out, the internal environment, how we think and the scripts and the words that we use in our head. And then those are the two things that we have to start to engineer to take us to where we want to be, right? Again, I say it all the time. I don't care what your goal is, just have a goal and work towards it. So you get that, like we talked about earlier, that sense of accomplishment and move forward. You'll get one kick at this life, right? YOLO, as all the kids say and stuff like that. And it's actually a great way to look at things. Now, when you're YOLOing because, fuck it, I'm going to run off this bridge naked because you only live once, well, it's probably not going to be for very long. That's fine. Or, fuck it, I'm not going to work today. I'm going to drink myself into a stupor and, take the day off, YOLO. Well, you know what? You're pretty fucked up, right? I don't think that's healthy, and that's not definitely going to get you very far. But if you turn it around and you look at the YOLO, you only live once, to the point where you're going to go after the dreams that you have and the visions that you have, and don't settle for things that aren't important for you and stuff like that. To me, that's a tremendous way to look at you only live once, right? That to me is a very powerful why. And then you take that and then you look at your environment, both internal and external, and what your goals are and your visions are and stuff, and you start mapping that. It's incredible what's going to happen, how you're going to feel inside, and then what you're going to start doing overall. And again, guys, it happens fast. I guarantee you, a lot of you listening haven't even sat down with a piece of paper and done some of that mapping, right? You can call it mind mapping, you can vision mapping, vision board, whatever you say and stuff you see on the interwebs and stuff. But you can find something, to sit down and just start planning things so that you have a purpose. Why am I working all week long? Why am I, doing what I'm doing every month and every year and stuff? And the moment you start to look at that and start to get past the just letting things happen to you, and going out and becoming more deliberate with your intentions and what you're actually doing, your actions, right? You can make incredible changes in a short amount of time. And I mean powerful, right? And those of you that are listening that have done that, look back, right? Going back to accomplishment, look back what you've done in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? It makes a huge difference. I'm always talking just that a couple of people, we're getting ready for December 2017, we're running our next powerlifting meet. So again, if you're in your time machine, this is we're actually doing this podcast recording August 28th, 2017. So if you're listening to me from the future, welcome. But at the end of the day, we've already started, promoting the next meet coming up in December. That's 4 months away, but it's important because it gives people a time to train towards it, work towards it, get themselves ready for it physically and mentally. And I've had 3 people last week, actually, even just on the weekend, actually sign up to compete, and they haven't even competed before, right? And what's exciting about that is that I know this is going to trigger a big change in their training, a big change in their focus, and wow, what kind of sense of accomplishment is coming down the pipe for that, right? Turn around, we just had a meet last 2 weekends ago, and of the 29 lifters or whatever it was, 3 or 4 of them was first-time lifters. And I'll tell you, the sense of accomplishment that came out of that was incredible, right? So to me, we set ourselves up with those things. So, going out there and being deliberate about why we want to do stuff, right? Finding out the whys and then being deliberate with a course of action makes a big difference. And guys, it starts with something as simple as a pen and paper, drawing a couple of lines down the middle. What do you like about your life? What you don't like about your life? What's your ultimate? One of the greatest exercises I've ever done, and my business coach Eric over at Rhapsody Strategies had me do this, is just design your ultimate day, right? Sit down with a piece of paper and a pen someplace quiet and just think about what would your ultimate day look like, and envision that. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would the morning be like? What time would you get up? What would you do? What would your day be like? Who would you interact with, right? Where would you eat? What would you eat? What would your afternoon be like, right? How would you talk to people? How would people talk to you? How would you feel? How would you make others feel? And what would the evening be like, right? Right up until you go to bed. So like from 5 a.m. to midnight if you want. And it's a little weird at first, but when you start doing it and then you start really being honest with yourself, and it starts to flow, crazy, right? And then you look at it and then you sit there and then, you massage it a bit, but you can come up with something really, really cool. And then what happens is look where you are now, look at that day and start reverse engineering that. Right. And it takes a little bit of work at the beginning. Right. Some people get scared of doing it because they're afraid to see that the life they've been living is totally, what they're not what they really wanted to be or what they want to be, but they're afraid of doing that. They're afraid to find out that they've been wasting time or, they've been living a lie or whatever. We fear the unknown and we make shit up to fill some of those gaps. And usually it's fear-based. But at the end of the day, it's never too late to make those changes, right? But again, great exercise. If you haven't done it before, take some time this week. Take a good half hour, quiet, no distraction, no interruptions, no one running in and stuff like that. And then sit there and create your ultimate day and be as creative as you want. Be honest with yourself. If there's ever a time to be fucking honest with yourself, that's one of those times. Right? And sit there. And I don't give a fuck if you turn around a year later, Kurt, I gave everything up and now I juggle. I'm a street busker. If that's what you want, I guarantee you'll be happier than shit when you get to that point. Right? Whatever it is. But I'm telling you, super, super important thing. And again, right, when you do that, you're automatically going to see where you have to adjust, who you hang out with, where you hang out, where you spend your time, because some of it might be necessary to acquire a skill that you don't have to create that day, or the experience, or even some financial stuff. That's going to really determine when you take that plan and say, okay, well, to do this, first step is this, and I got to hang out here, and I got to go here, and I got to do this, and these are the people I have to talk to. Well, man, you're on your way, right? Scary because it's the unknown, but incredibly fulfilling, and what a huge sense of accomplishment. If you can come out on the other side, just that exercise alone, incredibly powerful, scary powerful. Go out and do that, guys. Listen, that's all I got to say about that for now. Head over to iTunes and subscribe if you haven't. Please leave us a 5-star review. And if you need to talk to me, you have any comments, concerns, death threats, email me, kurthaas@gmail.com, and I'll talk to you guys later.